Furia is weird. Like, really weird. They have reworked this champion so many times in the past year, to the point that you might be wondering, what the heck do I even play with this character anymore? Which talent is the best talent for Furia? And I also struggled to answer that question, but today I want to talk about her talent situation, and I want to discuss kind of some weird elements of this character regarding her talents these days, and why I actually don't think Cherish is really that good anymore. So yeah, let's just get into it. What the heck are her talents right now? These have been changed so many times. Literally none of these talents are the same as they were a year ago, not even close. So, for starters, in her base kit now, she has the effect of Old Cherish, which makes it so that it heals more based on the percentage of your health that you're missing. So, you don't actually need to pick this talent to get that increased healing effect anymore. As a matter of fact, the only way Cherish buffs your healing these days is with the curative keyword, which provides 20% increased healing. And Cherish will also apply an area of effect, heal, to where it heals allies within 35 units of your target at 50% effectiveness. The thing about this, though, is it's not actually that good. The area of effect happens once in a blue moon. I seriously almost never notice this when a Cherish Furia is playing on my team, or when I myself am playing Cherish Furia. So, this talent is basically just a 20% healing amp, and that's basically it. And, in my opinion, I think you get way more value out of picking these other two talents, even if you are the solo healer. So let's take a look at Solar Blessing instead. This talent also got changed a bit, although at this point, it's the only talent that has stayed mostly the same. This talent makes it so that when you refire Pyro Strike, it stops it in place, and any ally in the beam is healed for 150 healing every 10th of a second for 1.5 seconds. So, yeah, this is what, 1500 healing a second, I think, if math is correct? And, yeah, it's pretty powerful healing per second. But it's not as powerful as it used to be, but the thing is, this effect will linger, so if the teammate leaves the beam, they'll still get this effect for 1.5 seconds, and additional hits will refresh the effect. So it's not like it stacks on itself, it just refreshes. So yeah, this provides a major boost to your healing output, and you're not really losing anything on your right click. This talent still provides 10% increased healing with Remedy. Which, yeah, you are losing out on 10% extra healing from Cherish, but you have the added benefit of Solar Blessing, the beam itself, and you're still doing a lot with your right-click, and you're not really losing the AoE either with Cherish, and as a matter of fact, you'll be healing multiple teammates more consistently with Solar Blessing because you have a second ability to hit them with, and it is an area of effect ability. So, I think this is just straight up better. Because another major benefit about Solar Blessing is that it does 5% additional damage, which a big reason why you pick Furia is for the extra damage. And this talent is also the only talent now that stops the beam in its place on anyone, right? Because you can just do this, stop it. I actually am bad at the game, so I did it a bit early. But you get the point, right? You can just stop the beam whenever you want, and basically play it like it's old Exterminate. So that'll actually help you out versus flankers, it'll help you do additional damage alongside your additional healing, as well as the fact that, yeah, your primary fire does 331 damage now. That's pretty cool, right? So, if you're solo healing now, I think it's genuinely just better to go Solar Blessing. I mean, why the heck not? You get this giant beam that does healing now, your right clicks still do a lot of healing, and you do more damage slightly, and you have a tool that allows you to kind of pseudo-exterminate the enemies. Well, bam, stop it in place, do the damage. So, I still see a lot of people picking Cherish, and I think it's habit, because for a long time, yeah, Cherish was the meta with Furia. It used to be overpowered, doing like 2,000 or 3,000 burst heals on tanks and stuff like that, but even before that, it was the meta talent for Furia, before keywords, because they've royally changed this champion, and it's just, she's not even really that similar to the way she was back then with how much they've tweaked her numbers, right? So, yeah, I think it's mostly just tradition and habit why people are picking Cherish these days, but I don't actually think it provides nearly as much value as Solar Blessing does now. But then also we have Exterminate. This talent is goofy. This increases the attack speed bonus of Wrath to 15% per tier. So you basically just get an extra tier of attack speed, right? Normally it stops at 30%, this will now stop at 45%. And you get the Surgery bonus, which is 10% more damage. So we can stack this up, and we can do a lot of damage with a proper damage build. And, well, I don't have that much Wrath. Let me go get some Wrath real quick. But the thing I want you to see is that we're still going to be doing a good amount of healing, right? Because we still have that effect where we heal for more based on the amount of health they're missing. So we're still hitting 1k burst heals with this talent. And then, yeah, look at this damage. That is insane DPS for a support to have. And obviously you boost it even further with your ultimate. And the thing about doing this much damage is you can potentially also just build your ultimate faster from doing all that damage. And Furia's ultimate is obviously, as everyone knows, one of the best ultimates in the entire game. So there might genuinely also be merit to playing this talent over Cherish even as the solo healer, because of how much damage it deals. Now, is that the right decision, to run it over Solar Blessing? I don't necessarily know. I'm not a Furia main. I would love to hear from Furia mains in the comment section down below on whether or not that would be worth it. But I think if you have to choose between just this or Cherish, I think you still go Exterminate. I genuinely don't see a reason to pick Cherish for that extra 20% healing when you could have all this extra damage. And still, yeah, you'd be healing for less, but you'd still be healing for mostly the same amount. I mean, yeah, you cannot argue with that damage output. 10% extra damage intrinsically per bullets with this fire rate. Ooh. It's just insane. She's got a machine gun. It's bonkers. But what would I do to change this champion? Because it's still not a perfect talent dynamic, as much as I hate to actually say that Furia needs any changes, because honestly, I kind of just want to let the champion rest. She's gotten more talent reworks than any other character in the past, like, year or two. And that's just recent memory. She probably has more talent reworks than, like, most characters in the game. It's crazy how many reworks they did to her in such a short amount of time. But, yeah, she's still obviously not perfect. And also we have to consider, we do still want keywords to be removed, but what the heck is the talent dynamic going to be when that happens? I don't know. I think when keywords, or if keywords get removed, rather, I do think at base her damage should go up and just be consistent among all the talents, and just have Exterminate rely on that attack speed bonus, and just make it consistent, right? Because it sucks to lose out on damage when you play Cherish. That's another reason why it's, you know, I would say worse than the other two talents, because the healing benefit isn't really good enough, but then also, yeah, these just do more damage, right? But if we are going to talk in the world of keywords, I think the most important thing to buff Cherish is just to buff the range, because this almost never procs. You almost never see Cherish actually work, and that's a bad thing. I mean, you're picking this talent for the AoE, but you just don't really get it. And I believe Saris's is closer to like 60 units or something like that. Saris's is definitely a lot larger, and you notice that a lot more. So Cherish, I would say, should just go up to the levels of what her sister has, right? Saris has a way better range, and I think also more effectiveness on the actual heal itself. Why not give Furia the exact same thing? It would be nice parallelism, considering in the lore they are sisters. But also, I mean, it would just make the talent actually worth running. I don't think with an AoE this tiny, it's worth running. But, yeah, that's what I would do to Cherish. As far as the rest of the talents, they're actually in a decently healthy spot. Exterminate is very powerful, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, okay. I like powerful things, and I don't think it's game-breaking, necessarily. I haven't seen too many damage Furias running around just absolutely shredding. But if you're good, it can still be a huge amount of damage, so that's nice. And then Solar Blessing, yeah, I just think that's what you go as a healer now. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is kind of just awkward for Furia to have these two healing talents directly competing with each other. Before, she also had these two beam talents directly competing with each other, where both of them stopped the beam on people. Luckily, she doesn't have that now, but perhaps what you could see in the far distant future is maybe a rework, where you have Solar Blessing being the sort of hybrid talent that does a bit of damage, does healing, obviously, and is the main talent you go if you want crazy healing numbers. But maybe Cherish could be a talent that gives Furia some extra utility instead. You know how Furia has a card that gives teammates movement speed whenever she hits Kindle Soul? What if Cherish just did that but more? Or maybe Cherish provided some other benefit instead? that would give you the choice of, do I need a lot of healing? Or do I want to give my teammates some buffs? Or do I just want to play damage Furia? I think that might be a much healthier dynamic for these talents than what we currently have, which is still just two healing talents actively fighting against each other to be the best healing talent, and whichever one does more healing more consistently is the one that's going to be picked, and the other one's just going to fall to the wayside. I think as long as you have that, it's going to be an unhealthy dynamic for the talents, and you're really only going to have two playstyles, and that actually bears out for a lot of champions in this game. Grok, the best healing playstyle. Totemic Ward, obviously. Spirit's Domain, flat out worse. Grover, Rampant Blooming, straight up better than Deep Roots, just period. Maldamba, Spirit's Chosen, straight up better than Gourd talent, just period, right? And you see it go on and on and on. So I think for most of these characters, actually, to have a healthier talent dynamic, instead of having two direct healing talents, you maybe have one of the talents give some sort of utility instead. That would be my thought process about this, but of course, you'll have to let me know what you think about this in the comments section down below. Do you like my idea? Or am I just silly? Please, I would love to hear your thoughts. But at the end of the day, I think it's much more effective for her to go for Solar Blessing now as the main healer instead of Cherish. And I think if you want to play damage, obviously you just play Exterminate. I don't see much of a reason to pick Cherish in today's meta, and I want to make this video just to spread that idea out. Because, yeah, I still see a lot of people picking Cherish, and I feel like they would just do so much better if they picked a different talent. And I think people just pick this talent because she's had such a rough time with all these reworks. People don't know what to pick, and Cherish traditionally has been the best talent, but I don't think that's the case anymore. So, yeah. Comment your thoughts below in the comment section down below. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed, if you found this video to be informative, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.